This guy told me I was worthless, that without him, I'd never make it in life. Fast forward a few years, he's standing in my office begging me for a job. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you love powerful revenge stories where the underdog rises to the top, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. This story is about betrayal, broken confidence, and the ultimate comeback you won't see coming. When I was in my mid-20s, I had a best friend. Let's call him Daniel. We grew up together, and for years our parents joked that we were more like brothers than friends. We did everything together, played the same sports, went to the same school. It always felt like we were on the same page. So when we finished high school and started talking about our futures, we both decided we wanted to start a business together. I had these big dreams of running a company where we could innovate, come up with products that could help people, and eventually become the biggest players in the market. The way he saw it, we'd work hard for a couple of years, build up a solid foundation, and then we could sell the company for millions and retire early. I thought it was perfect. For years, all we talked about was how we were going to grow this company, design cool products, and change the world. But the closer we got to making that dream a reality, the more I realized Daniel didn't see me as a partner. He saw me as his shadow. I'd come up with ideas and talk about how I wanted to improve things, but he'd always shut me down. When we planned new products, he'd hog the spotlight, and before I knew it, all our meetings were dominated by him. Then one night, we had a huge fight about a project that Daniel had been working on for months. He kept telling me it was going to be a game changer, but I couldn't help but notice it was basically a copy of a competitor's product. I told him I didn't want to be involved in something that wasn't original. That's when he snapped. He called me every name under the sun and then said the words that cut me the deepest. "You'd be nothing without me. You don't have the brains or guts to succeed on your own." With that, he threw me out of his apartment, told me to get lost, and never show my face again. And that was the moment I knew I had a decision to make: keep being the person Daniel wanted me to be, the one who took the back seat and watched while he took all the credit. Or I could find my own path, a path where I was the driver and I was the one calling the shots. It wasn't easy. I'd always been a dreamer, someone who talked about changing the world, but never really did anything about it. Now I needed to step up, not just for my own sake, but to prove to Daniel I didn't need him. For a while I bounced around, working odd jobs to stay afloat, but soon I realized that wasn't enough. I wanted to build something real. So I borrowed some money from my family, scraped together whatever savings I had left, and rented a small office. My plan was simple. I would focus on finding solutions to everyday problems, things that hadn't been done before, products that were truly useful. Of course, none of that happened overnight. I had to learn how to manage a team, how to handle finances, and most importantly, how to lead. There were times when I doubted myself, moments when the fear of failure threatened to overwhelm me. Those are the times I remembered Daniel's words. You don't have the brains or guts to succeed on your own, and they fueled my determination. I wanted to prove him wrong more than anything else. In the meantime, Daniel was living the high life. He used his family's connections to secure funding for his company, a company that was basically a replica of a successful startup that had been around for years. At the time, it seemed like he was winning. His company was getting bigger, attracting investors, and making headlines. As for me, I was still hustling, pouring everything into my dream. Then slowly, miraculously, things started to turn around for me. One client became 5, then 5 turned into 50. Before I knew it, I was turning down projects that weren't a good fit. Instead of worrying about money, I was strategizing about growth. One afternoon, I walked into my office and found this note on my desk. It was from one of our major clients, thanking us for the work we'd done, but also praising me personally for my leadership and vision. The email ended with something I hadn't seen before, an offer to sit on my company's board of directors. From there, everything changed. What started as a small startup became a thriving business. Suddenly, I was meeting with industry leaders, discussing strategies and exploring potential collaborations. I was even invited to speak at conferences about my journey and the secrets to my success. All the while, I kept pushing, striving to become better, smarter, bolder. Success wasn't just about proving Daniel wrong, it was about becoming the best version of myself. Through all this, I only had one interaction with Daniel. I bumped into him at a networking event. He was with a group of investors, laughing and boasting about his latest acquisition. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. His smug grin and the way he talked about his latest deal told me everything I needed to know. A few months after that, I read the news. Daniel's company had taken a massive hit. Their main product had failed to live up to expectations, and investors were pulling out. Rumors swirled about layoffs and declining sales. Daniel himself had vanished from public events. No one knew where he was or what he was up to. Fast forward 6 months, and I heard a rumor that Daniel was in trouble, serious trouble. His company had collapsed and he'd lost everything. I didn't feel sorry for him. In fact, part of me felt a sense of satisfaction knowing that the tables had turned. But then one morning, my assistant walked into my office and said, "There's someone here to see you. His name is Daniel." I froze. My heart skipped a beat. Was this the end? Was he here to gloat? To rub his failures in my face? Before I could respond, my assistant returned and ushered a man into my office. It was Daniel. But the Daniel that stepped into my office wasn't the cocky young CEO I remembered. He was older, his face was etched with stress, and his eyes lacked their usual spark. "Hi, do you have a minute?" he asked. His voice was different, almost a stranger's. I stared at him, surprised. His clothes were rumpled and his hair was unkempt. It was as if the weight of the world was pressing him down. Finally, he spoke again. "Look, I know this might seem weird, but I need your help. I heard you were doing well," and he trailed off, unable to meet my gaze. I leaned back in my chair. A wave of emotions surged through me, surprise, curiosity, and a hint of triumph. Here was the man who had once belittled me, who had thrown me out of his life, now standing in front of me, broken and defeated. "What do you want, Daniel?" I asked, my voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil within. "I need a job," he whispered, his eyes fixed on the floor. "Anything. I'm willing to work for you. Do anything." The words hung in the air between us, heavy with the weight of his pride and past arrogance. I studied him, trying to decipher the emotions behind his defeat. Was this real, or was it an act? Was he faking his humility to get what he wanted? But as I met his gaze, I saw a flicker of vulnerability, a crack in the facade of bravado that had defined him. It was a side of him I had never seen before. A part of me wanted to seize the moment, to rub his defeat in his face, to remind him of the times he had tormented me. But another, stronger part of me recognized the man standing in front of me. He wasn't the confident Daniel I once knew. He was a shell of that person, broken and desperate. "Daniel," I began, my voice softer now, "you and I have a shared history, but let's be clear. I don't owe you anything. And to be honest, I'm not comfortable hiring someone I barely know." He looked up, a plea in his eyes. "I understand, but I promise I'm not the same person I was. I've made mistakes, yes, but I'm willing to learn from them. I know I can bring value to your company. Please give me a chance." His words hung in the air, raw and desperate. The silence in the room was deafening. I looked away, wrestling with my thoughts. I could end his hopes right here, crush any chances of a comeback. But was that fair? Was it just? After what felt like an eternity, I turned back to him. "Daniel, today we're signing a contract that will change the course of your career. Are you ready?" he asked, hopefully. "Daniel, the person you once were doesn't exist anymore. There's no place for that person in my company," I said firmly. His shoulders slumped, his hopes deflating like a punctured balloon. I could see the pain etched on his face, the realization dawning on him. I'm sorry, Daniel, but this isn't the opportunity you seek. I wish you luck in your future endeavors. With that, I extended my hand, hoping he would grasp it, not as a sign of camaraderie, but as an offering of closure. As I watched him walk away, defeated and disillusioned, a part of me ached for the friendship we once shared. Yet I knew I had made the right choice. We'd once been friends, but somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten the importance of loyalty and trust. In the end, he reaped what he had sown. Now, years later, I run a multi-million-dollar company and am respected in my field. Do I sometimes miss our friendship, wonder about the choices we made? Of course. But the hurt he caused me, the times he made me feel worthless, that's in the past now. Success isn't just about wealth or fame. It's about self-growth, resilience, and staying true to yourself. And that's exactly what I've done. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story of ultimate comeback, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend. Until next time, remember, your journey matters more than any obstacle you face.